Hello and welcome. My name is Allison Rosenthal, and I'm the Vice President, CNS Sales and Marketing at Otsuka America Pharmaceutical Incorporated. In my role, I have the great pleasure of leading a team of dedicated professionals who are working tirelessly to help people that are living with mental health challenges. So we help to formulate many different programs at every stage of the life cycle of our products, from before they're launched to looking at new formulations to looking at how to extend our products to really help improve patient care. And as many of you know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And at Otsuka, we are focused on how to help move our industry forward from awareness to action. And I'm here today with Jocelyn Ulrich from PhRMA, and we're going to talk about how to shed light on a few critical issues and areas of conversation, the key challenges around mental health awareness, and the landscape in the US. So Jocelyn, I am so honored to be here with you today, and I invite you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you so much, Allison, and it is a pleasure to be here today. I'm Jocelyn Ulrich with PhRMA, the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America. I'm Deputy Vice President of Medical Innovation Policy there, where we are responsible for conducting effective advocacy for public policies that encourage the discovery of important new medicines for patients, including for mental health.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. I really appreciate that. And I think we're going to have a great conversation here today. So within our company at Otsuka, we talk a lot about how to bring awareness to people that are living with mental illness and to really think about how we can support access to treatment. And obviously, this past year with the COVID-19 pandemic has been a huge struggle for so many. And we've seen so many mental health challenges that have been exacerbated across the spectrum of care. And I'm wondering if you've seen any observations at the industry level, Jocelyn.
Well, it's no secret that the pandemic has had a significant impact on mental health of our nation across all demographics. Major life changes from stress and job loss, having to shift from parenting to homeschooling, something which I have been very familiar with over the last year, financial challenges, illness, and even death of family members and friends, and of course, long-term social isolation. Prior research confirms that large-scale trauma can significantly affect our mental health. And in the 2003 SARS epidemic, we saw that people that were directly impacted, in particular healthcare workers, showed significantly higher rates of burnout and post-traumatic stress in the months following the outbreak. And these impacts affect all of us. But for people who live with existing mental health conditions, such as anxiety, depression, and others, the increased stress can lead to relapse or even worsening of symptoms. And so recognizing this need for solutions, PhRMA's member companies, who are the largest biopharmaceutical research companies in America today, have remained committed to addressing these challenges by applying the latest scientific knowledge to researching and developing new treatments for a wide range of mental health conditions, including Otsuka. So looking to the future, according to updated findings from our recent report on development of mental illness, there are more than 140 treatments currently in development to address ongoing unmet medical need. This is great news for patients, because what we know is that often it's really important for patients to have a range of treatment options available to them. We're also advancing research into the underlying causes of mental illness and pursuing biomarkers that could help clinicians identify those mental health conditions earlier. So there's a lot going on in the pipeline. It's a very exciting time.
Yeah, it is a really exciting time, and it's actually really promising to hear about all those different innovations, all those different new therapies and technologies that we're looking at, because you're right, this has been just an incredible year, not only for people that already were living with mental health challenges, but so much new. I can also relate to, the blurred lines of home and work, and have heard so much about the rates of burnout with the healthcare professionals on the front lines helping all of us. So I really do acknowledge how important it is for companies to continue to commit to bringing additional therapies, additional solutions to the space, we really need to use our resources to invest in additional technology and innovative solutions, because this is going to be a big, I think, second pandemic if we don't really commit to this area.
Absolutely. We agree there really is a need for a more comprehensive plan around total care. We need to make sure we're meeting patients where they are, and we're bringing to bear all of the innovations and technology, cell phones, the ability to communicate via our computers, using apps that can help people to organize their day and to reach out for support at a moment's notice. All of this is critically important. And of course, we want to pair that with therapy and other things that can really help patients get through difficult times. And, especially now, I think, making sure that we're going beyond the pill is critically important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that so many people are feeling so isolated right now, without that social interaction. And so it's so important for us to really think about how we can, like you say, meet people where they are. And also, I think that what COVID has uncovered is the big challenge in terms of inequity, in terms of access to care. People are still not seeking out care, and people are still feeling vulnerable. There's still a stigma as it relates to seeking out care and mental health. And I've heard so many stories as recently as last week about people who have grown up with mental health challenges, who have faced serious trauma, and who have felt increasingly isolated and vulnerable as a result of COVID. And I think that conversations like this really, I think, shed some light on normalizing mental health challenges, normalizing sharing personal stories, because I myself have gone through challenges. I know many families are challenging, many people are struggling. And by having these conversations, I think it really does help people feel comfortable, also sharing stories, and then seeking out help and getting screened for mental illness, and understanding that there are many resources that are available to them.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Allison. And it does underscore the need to look at the patient from the lens of understanding everyone has unique needs and how we need to use everything available in our toolbox to help address them. And one thing that PhRMA has been focused on as of late is ensuring that, as we research and develop new medicines, that we have equity in our clinical trials. We want to make sure that the medicines that we are developing have patient populations in the trials that are representative of the patients who are ultimately going to use those medicines. And so recently, the CEOs of PhRMA member companies came together, and they have just put new principles around clinical trials into effect. Those actually came into effect just last month, and they outline a significant number of actions that CEO of our member companies, including Otsuka, will be taking to move the needle on this issue. And we're very proud of that effort.
I'm really proud of that too. I'm really happy to hear that, because it really starts at the clinical trial level, and ensuring that there is equal participation, equity in terms of participation in clinical trial. That will go such a long way to ensuring that all voices, all conditions, all experiences have equal representation. And we've heard from clinical trial participants that they also want to see, equity in terms of the investigators in clinical trials, because, that's who their therapeutic alliance is with, and who they trust, and who they develop a rapport with. So I'm also really proud that Otsuka has been collaborating with companies such as Verily, and that's to virtualize clinical trials. And that's to also make it easier to drive more patient centricity and more diversity and inclusion of trial participants. So earlier this year, Otsuka and Click Therapeutics has actually initiated a study called Mirai, which means future in Japanese. And it's the first of its kind. It's really revolutionary, because it is the first fully remote clinical trial using digital therapeutics as adjunctive therapy for adults suffering from major depressive disorder. So now more than ever, it's a good time for us to think about digital solutions that can make a difference and dramatically enhance access to mental health treatments without sacrificing the rigors and importance of clinical validation and patient-centered focus on engagement and user experience. So speaking of digital technology and innovation in technology, I'm assuming that that's been, a real area of focus for the industry. So I'm curious if you have any thoughts around that, Jocelyn.
Absolutely. And not only do I have thoughts around this from the industry perspective, but I have a personal view on this as well. I do have a child who's diagnosed with anxiety and ADHD, and we have successfully used digital tools to help with time management. Once the pandemic hit, we were able to switch our therapy to computers and using video conferences. And so in my own personal life, the use of digital tools to support my family with mental health has been invaluable. And so, really understanding it from a caregiver perspective, it really is critically important. And the impact of the coronavirus pandemic has certainly only reinforced our need to look at these tools and utilize them in patient care.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for sharing that story. And I agree, maybe it's a silver lining of the coronavirus pandemic that we've all, I guess, been forced to embrace technology, but at the same time, it does kind of enhance the access because you don't need to travel to seek care. So I think that that's a really important point, and hopefully something that more and more people will be able to avail themselves from. And I really think that digital health innovations are going to significantly change the game. And at Otsuka, we have made a significant investment over the last decade in digital health. And the whole point is to empower people to take control of their own health, to understand their disease, to manage their disease in partnership with their healthcare professionals. And so that sense of, I guess, empowerment, that's the paradigm shift in mental health that we're looking for, so that patients feel that they're in control and that they can make their own decisions. And I'm curious if you're seeing kind of a similar trend in the industry on that, Jocelyn.
I do think so. And I think that the pandemic, much as it has increased awareness for the general public around the need for effective vaccines, for a conversation about public health, it has also kind of brought into the forefront the importance of mental health and what it means when we have stress in our life and how to manage it better. And I think we have become more accepting as a society overall of admitting that we're not okay and that we see people wanting to seek out help and making sure that they're protecting their own mental health. And I think that is really important. I think the stigma sometimes can get in the way of people getting the care they need. And so, as you said, maybe there has been a little bit of a silver lining around the pandemic in this area.
Yeah, well, it does seem like a hopeful shift in the right direction. And I think that conversations like this one hopefully will inspire people to seek the care that they need and that they deserve. So I really do want to thank you, Jocelyn, for I think a great discussion, a meaningful and important discussion, and for helping to shape the future of mental health for our entire industry. So as we come to a close, I really just want to add that it's only by working together that we can inspire and achieve continued innovation across the industry to address the behavioral health needs of patients and more broadly across the entire healthcare system. So one of the easiest ways that we can protect our mental health is to continue to have discussions like this one, continue to reach out to friends, to family, to loved ones, and make sure that people know that there are resources and that there are ways to address the challenges that we all face. So I really just want to reiterate what our theme here is today, and that is not only awareness, which is really important, but action. And I want to leave our audience with some tangible resources so that they can seek action and they can access care for themselves, for their loved ones, and really, advocate for yourselves to get the care that you need. So a huge thank you to everyone who is in attendance here today. And I hope that you found today's event as informative and inspiring as I have.
Thank you so much, Allison. It was really an honor and a privilege to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jocelyn.